The best revenge is no revenge. We've all been there. Betrayed, abandoned, ridiculed, hurt. And in that raw moment, there's a voice inside that whispers, get even. It tells you they deserve to feel the same pain you do. And maybe for a split second that idea feels satisfying, but here's the thing about revenge. It doesn't heal. It doesn't rebuild. It doesn't make us whole. It just keeps us tethered to the people who broke us. See, people who lash out, who betray, who wound others, they're often carrying their own pain. And when we respond with vengeance, we don't break the cycle, we join it. We become exactly what hurt us. So what's the real way to get back at them? You choose yourself instead. You take that energy and pour it into your own healing, your own growth. You become so fulfilled, so successful in your own right that their actions lose all power over you. And here's where it gets really radical. You allow yourself to be vulnerable, to feel, to process, to move through the pain instead of being consumed by it. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage. It's saying, yes, I was hurt, but I refuse to let this define me. And then the hardest part, letting go. Not for them, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Forgive Forrest isn't about saying what they did was okay. It's about refusing to let it poison your future. So the best revenge, it's living a life so full, so rich with purpose that their memory fades into irrelevance. It's walking into a room with your head held high, knowing you took the pain and turned it into something powerful. Because at the end of the day, the people who hurt you, they don't get to write your story, you do. When someone hurts us, the most natural reaction is to want them to feel the same pain we imagine, the perfect comeback, the right moment to expose them, or even a way to make them regret ever crossing us. It's a deeply human impulse, revenge versus regret, choosing a higher path. But here's the truth. Revenge is a short-term fix for a long-term wound. At first, it feels empowering, it feels like taking control, it feels like justice. But what happens after that moment of satisfaction is fleeting, and the pain still lingers, the wounds still exist. And now, instead of moving forward, we find ourselves stuck, still tied to the person who hurt us still, pouring energy into a situation that doesn't deserve another ounce of our attention. Growth, on the other hand, is the opposite of revenge. It's not about reacting to the person who hurt you. It's about shifting your focus entirely. It's about saying, I refuse to let them dictate my next move. I refuse to let this pain turn me into something I'm not. See, revenge keeps us in the past. It's rooted in what they did, how they made us feel, and what we can do to level the score. Growth, however, is about the future. It asks, how can I use this pain to become stronger? What can I learn from this? How do I ensure that my story doesn't end here? There's an old saying, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Revenge is that poison. It keeps us shackled to anger, bitterness, and resentment. Growth, on the other hand, is choosing to detox. It's choosing to take what happened, extract the lessons, and turn that experience into fuel. Because here's the thing, when we focus on revenge, we're still centering that person in our lives. We're still giving them space in our thoughts, our hearts, and our actions. But growth is about reclaiming that space for yourself. It's about taking your power back, not by hurting them, but by becoming so whole, so grounded in who you are that they no longer have any hold over you. So the real question isn't how do I get back at them? The real question is how do I rise above this in a way that makes me proud of who I am becoming? There's a hard truth about the people who hurt us. They're usually carrying their own wound. It doesn't excuse their actions, but it does explain. The pain, when left unchecked, has a way of spreading like wildfire. It passes from one person to the next, like a torch, being handed down through generations. Relationships and everyday interactions. Think about it. Have you ever seen a truly happy, healed person go out of their way to hurt someone? People who are at peace with themselves don't feel the need to tear others down. They don't manipulate, betray, or lash out just to see someone else suffer. That kind of cruelty comes from somewhere. It has roots. Most people who inflict pain are in some way trying to offload their own suffering. Maybe they grew up in a home where love was hurt. People hurt people. Breaking the cycle conditional, where criticism was louder than encouragement. Maybe they were abandoned, overlooked, or made to feel unworthy. Maybe life has hardened them, and instead of healing, they learned to strike first so no one else could hurt them again. It doesn't make what they did right. It doesn't mean we have to accept it or keep them in our lives. But understanding this truth shifts something inside us. It helps us realize that their actions say more about them than they do about us. And here's where it gets tricky. If we're not careful, we can become just like them when we carry the pain they cause and let it turn into bitterness, resentment, or a desire for revenge. We continue the cycle. Their hurt becomes our hurt. And if we're not intentional, we'll pass it on to someone else. Maybe in the form of anger, distrust, or shutting people out who actually care. Breaking the cycle takes strength. It takes looking at the pain and deciding it ends with me. It means refusing to pass that hurt forward, even when it would be easier to lash out or get even. It means taking a step back and realizing this wasn't about me, this was about them and their unhealed wounds. Now, that doesn't mean we have to fix them. It doesn't mean we have to stay in toxic situations, tolerate abuse, or give endless chances to those who don't respect us. But it does mean that we can choose to walk away without carrying their pain as our own. We can choose to heal rather than hurt. Because at the end of the day, if we respond to pain with more pain, we become another link in the chain. But if we choose healing, self-awareness, and growth, we break that chain forever. And if that's the kind of power they never saw coming, there comes a moment in life when you realize that not everyone deserves a front row seat to your story. That some people, no matter how much you cared for them, how much you trusted them, or how deeply you believed in their potential, are simply not meant to stay. And when they hurt you, betray you, or make you feel small, you're faced with a choice. Do I keep pouring my energy into them, or do I choose myself? For many of us, the instinct is to stay entangled in the pain, to prove a point, to make them see our worth, to get the closure we think we need. But here's the truth. Waiting for someone who hurt you to validate your pain is like waiting for a storm to apologize for raining. Some people will never acknowledge the damage they've done. Some will never change. And the longer we hold on, the more we lose sight of ourselves. Choosing yourself doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about your own well-being to stop bleeding for people who wouldn't even hand you a bandage. It means recognizing that chasing an apology, forcing someone, choosing yourself over them, reclaiming your power to see your value, or staying where you're not respected will only drain you further. It means understanding that your peace, your growth, and your happiness are more important than proving anything to someone who doesn't truly care. And I know it's not easy. Walking away can feel like losing it, can feel like giving up, but in reality, it's the greatest act of self-respect. It's saying, I will not let your actions define my self-worth. I will not allow your inability to love me properly to convince me that I am unlovable. I will not waste my time trying to change someone who has no intention of changing. There's a shift that happens when you finally choose yourself. You stop begging for attention, for closure, for validation. You realize that your energy is better spent on people who value it. You learn that sometimes silence is the strongest response, that walking away is more powerful than any comeback, that success, happiness, and inner peace are the best ways to show the world. And yourself, that you didn't need them to become whole. Choosing yourself means refusing to let the pain they cause dictate your future. It means taking your power back, not by retaliating, but by thriving, by healing, by growing into the version of yourself that they can't touch, can't control, and can't take credit for. And the best part, when you choose yourself, you stop waiting for someone else to save you. You become your own hero, and that is a victory they will never take from you. For most of us, vulnerability feels like a risk. It feels like exposing a part of ourselves that the world could judge, mock, or reject. We're taught from a young age that strength means keeping our guard up, that showing emotion makes us weak, and that if we want to survive, we have to build walls, thick, impenetrable walls that keep the world from seeing what's really inside. But here's the truth. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's courage in its purest form. Think about it. What's harder, pretending you're fine when you're falling apart or admitting that you're struggling? Hiding your true feelings to maintain an illusion, or standing in your truth even when it makes you feel exposed? Vulnerability is the willingness to be seen as you are, without pretense, without armor, without apology. And that kind of honesty, that kind of rawness, that is power, because when you are vulnerable, you are untouchable. Not in a sense that you won't get hurt, because you will. Life will bruise you, people will disappoint you. But when you own your story, when you refuse to be ashamed of your pain, your fears, or your past, no one can use them against you. See, people often think power Vulnerability is power. Strength in being real is about control, controlling how people see us, controlling how much of ourselves we reveal, controlling every aspect of our narrative. But real power comes from the exact opposite. It comes from the ability to say, this is me. These are my scars. This is what I've been through, and I'm not hiding it. And here's the magic, in that when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you don't just free yourself. You give others permission to do the same, because the truth is we're all carrying something. We're all pretending to some degree. And the moment someone steps forward and says, not pretending anymore, it creates a ripple effect. It makes others feel safe. It makes others feel seen. But vulnerability isn't just about sharing your struggles. It's also about opening yourself up to love to joy, to connection when you've been hurt. It's tempting to shut down, to close yourself off so you never have to feel that kind of pain again. But in doing so, you don't just protect yourself from pain, you block yourself from everything good too. Love, trust, growth, fulfillment. So the real challenge is this: can you stay open even after you've been hurt? Can you keep your heart soft even when the world has given you every reason to harden it? Can you allow yourself to be seen even when it terrifies you? Because that is strength, that is resilience, that is power at the end of the day. The strongest people aren't the ones who never fall apart, they're the ones who do, but refuse to stay broken. They're the ones who wear their scares with pride, who say, this is what I've been through and I'm still here. And that is a power no one can take from you. Forgiveness is one of the hardest things we will ever do when someone has hurt us, betrayed us, or taken something from us that we can never get back. The idea of forgiving them can feel impossible, maybe even offensive. Why should we forgive? Why should we let them off the hook? Why should they get to move on while we're still picking up the pieces? But here's the thing, forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. We often think that holding on to anger protects us, that if we stay mad, if we replay the betrayal over, if we remind ourselves of how wrong they were, we're somehow keeping control. But in reality, the longer we hold on to that pain, the more power we give them. Think about it. How much energy have you already spent on them? How many hours, days, even years have you given to thoughts of what they did? How many nights have you lost sleep over someone who hasn't lost a second of rest over you? That's the real injustice. Not just what they did, but how much more of your life they continue to take. Forgiveness is how you take that power. Forgiveness is freedom. Letting go for yourself back. Not because they deserve it, not because what they did was okay, but because you deserve peace. And let's be clear, forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean inviting them back into your life. It doesn't mean pretending it never happened. It doesn't mean saying I'm fine when you're not. It means looking at the situation and deciding, I refuse to let this define me. I refuse to let your actions turn me into someone bitter, angry, and closed off. I refuse to carry this weight any longer. Because when we don't forgive, we don't just keep them chained to us. We keep ourselves chained to them. Every time we relive the pain, every time we let resentment build, we're keeping ourselves in a prison of our own making. And the worst part, they might not even know, they might not care, they might have moved on while we're still stuck in the moment. They broke us. So what do we do? How do we actually forgive when the wound is still fresh, when the betrayal still stings? First, we acknowledge the pain. We don't suppress it. We don't pretend it doesn't matter. Forgiveness isn't about denial. It's about facing the truth head on and deciding to let it go anyway. Then we shift our focus. Instead of asking, why did they do this to me? We ask, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? How can I use this to become stronger? Because when we take something painful and turn it into fuel for our own evolution, we win, and finally we release it. We don't wait for an apology that may never come. We don't wait for them to understand or make it right. We make it right for ourselves. We decide that our happiness, our peace, and our future are too important to waste another second being weighed down by something we cannot change. Forgiveness is not weakness. It's not surrender. It's the most powerful act of self-liberation there is. Because when you finally let go, when you truly release the anger, the resentment, the need for them to make it right, you don't just free them, you free yourself. And that is the greatest revenge of all. When someone hurts us, our first instinct is often to prove something, to show them they were wrong, to make them regret their actions, or to ensure they see the pain they caused. We think if they could just understand, if they could just feel what we felt, we'd finally get the closure we need. But here's the truth. The best way to prove them wrong is not through revenge, not through bitterness, not through endless explanations. The best way to respond is to live so well that they become irrelevant. Nothing unsettles people more than watching someone they try to break flourish when they expect you to be bitter, but instead you're glowing. When living well is the ultimate response, they assume you'll fall apart, but instead you rise when they think they left you wounded, but don't. Instead, you build something beautiful from the ashes. That's real power. That's the kind of revenge they never saw coming. But let's be clear, living well doesn't mean faking happiness to make them jealous. It doesn't mean pretending you're fine when you're not. It means genuinely choosing to invest in yourself instead of wasting energy on the past. It means redirecting the pain into something productive, something meaningful, because at the end of the day, your life is too valuable to be spent trying to make someone else feel bad. So, what does living well actually look like? It means healing even when no one is watching. It means doing the hard inner work, grieving, processing and facing the wounds head on, not to prove anything, but because you deserve peace. It means refusing to let one bad chapter define the entire book of your life. It means finding joy again. And when we've been hurt, it's easy to let the pain overshadow everything else. But real strength is rediscovering laughter, love, and purpose. It's allowing yourself to experience happiness without guilt. It means chasing your goals with relentless passion. Nothing is more powerful than pouring all that energy, the anger, the hurt, the frustration into building something incredible. A career, a dream, a skill, a version of yourself that is untouchable. Every time you focus on growth instead of revenge, you win. It means refusing to let them live rent-free in your mind. If you're constantly thinking about how to prove them wrong, they still have control over you. But the moment you stop caring, the moment you truly let go and focus on yourself, that's when you take all your power back. It means loving again, even when it scares you. Some people will hurt you and hope that it hardens you, that you'll close yourself off, that you'll never trust again. But the greatest act of defiance is refusing to let them change your heart, loving again, trusting again, opening yourself up to joy. That is how you win, and it's the most powerful part. One day, without even realizing it, you'll wake up and realize you no longer care about what they did. You'll realize they no longer hold space in your heart or mind, and in that moment, you'll know conclusion. Thriving beyond the pain won, not because they suffered, not because they apologized, but because you built a life so full, so rich, so meaningful, that they became nothing more than a lesson you outgrew. And that is the ultimate response. That is the real victory at the end of the day. Life will test us. People will hurt us. Some will betray our trust, some will abandon us, and some will try to break us. And in those moments, we will be tempted to fight back, to prove a point, to make them feel our pain, to seek revenge. But the truth is, revenge is a trap, one that keeps us tied to the very people and experiences we should be leaving behind. The real power lies in choosing a different path. It lies in growth over retaliation, because becoming the best version of yourself is far more powerful than any act of revenge. It lies in breaking the cycle, because hurt people, but heal people, heal people. It lies in choosing yourself over them, because your energy is too precious to be wasted on those who don't deserve it. It lies in embracing vulnerability, because true strength comes from owning your story without fear. It lies in forgiveness, not for their sake, but for yours. You can finally be free, and, most importantly, it lies in living well, because the ultimate response to pain is not anger, not bitterness, not proving a point. It's building a life so full, so beautiful, so aligned with your purpose that the people who once hurt you become nothing more than a distant memory. So let them go, let the pain go, and then go out and thrive, because that more than anything is the best revenge of all.